when I started January 1st, I ran a little session with those of you in my audience that were interested, and we did the 25 for 25 reflections. And my word of the year was flow. And I have to honestly admit that there has not been a lot of what I thought flow would bring into my life. I wanted to be more fluid, I believe, is the way I was looking at the word on January 1st, is that I wanted to allow things to come and go, less resistance, feel like I could pivot if needed. And somehow I had associated the word flow with balance. And in fact, my life has been somewhat of a season of imbalance these first 6 months. And so I invite you, if you chose a word of the year, to start reflecting on that so that on July 2nd, you might have a better idea of where you want to go in the next 6 months of 2025. And this is not to say that we have control or that planning is the only way to experience this halfway day, but it is beautiful to reflect on the things that have been transpiring in your life. Welcome to the Sober Edge podcast, inspiration for alcohol-free living. I'm your host, Terry Patterson, functional nutritionist and This Naked Mind senior coach. The Sober Edge is a place to explore the infinite possibilities on the other side of drinking. In a culture soaked in booze, discover the wonder and joy of taking a different path. Meet real people living lives of purpose and passion. Learn the truth behind the alcohol myths and get ready to be motivated, inspired, and astounded by what is possible with the Sober Edge. Well, hey everyone, it's Terry back with another edition of the Sober Edge podcast. And I'm going to keep this short and sweet because you might hear that my voice is a little challenged this week. But I considered doing a best of episode and I decided instead to just do a very quick check-in. So in real time, we have just passed summer solstice a couple of days ago. And it is time where everyone is readjusting their schedules, juggling having children home from school, perhaps some extra vacations, maybe just shifting your routine to get more sunlight. Perhaps you're eating dinner outside or staying up late. These are the things that are happening in my world. And I wanted to check in on a couple of things. So first of all, July 2nd is halfway day. And what do I mean by that? So that is traditionally, depending upon, how many days in each calendar year because of leap year, July 2nd is traditionally halfway through the year. And it's kind of cool to think about, we start January 1st, and here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's often cold, dark, the days are quite short. And now we are in the brilliant daylight of summer where, for most of us, the weather is warmer and we have more time outdoors. So July 2nd will be the day that I want to really reflect how this year is playing out for me and do a little looking back and looking forward, but mostly grounding myself in where I am right now. So when I started January 1st, I ran a little session with those of you in my audience that were interested, and we did the 25 for 25 reflections. And my word of the year was flow. And I have to honestly admit that there has not been a lot of what I thought flow would bring into my life. I wanted to be more fluid, I believe, is the way I was looking at the word on January 1st, is that I wanted to allow things to come and go, less resistance, feel like I could pivot if needed. And somehow I had associated the word flow with balance. And in fact, my life has been somewhat of a season of imbalance these first 6 months. And so I invite you, if you chose a word of the year, to start reflecting on that so that on July 2nd, you might have a better idea of where you want to go in the next 6 months of 2025. And this is not to say that we have control or that planning is the only way to experience this halfway day, but it is beautiful to reflect on the things that have been transpiring in your life. And so for most of you know that I am working less in my personal business and more in support of alcohol-free lifestyle and their programs. And I have been given so many amazing opportunities. In fact, I started 2025 in early January or mid-January. I went to Medellin, Colombia, and was able to be on a client retreat and do some teaching while I was there, and went on a beautiful helicopter ride over the city and hung out with some amazing people for a week. And then I also have been doing some new things, more teaching, more creating, more one-on-one with clients, and it's just really been a beautiful experience. This June, in fact, just this past week, I celebrated 1 year with working with alcohol-free lifestyle, and so it's been really helpful to think about reflecting what has transpired in this year and just a big, you know, transition for me in this past year with working more and enjoying it more and shifting a lot of things in my day to day. And so, with that, it feels like I've forgotten to check in with my word of the year, which is flow. And some of the things that have gone really well is I have been feeling more grounded in my coaching business, in what I offer, because the amount of practice that we get with anything improves our skills. And so the amount of coaching that I'm currently doing is just creating a new skill level for me. And I love that because it's really important to me to be able to connect with clients and to help each individual feel seen, heard, held, and just that they are hopeful on this journey toward their own alcohol freedom. And so that's been really cool. I'm also, you know, trying to keep this balance with family time and work time. And to be honest, it's been a bit of a challenge. And so, one of the things that has fallen by the wayside, which usually does in my life, is wanting to get into more movement. I found a gym I was very excited about, and I have found that my days are just crowding out my intention to be there and take advantage of the aqua aerobics and the cold plunge and the classes. And I'm really reflecting on how to set up some non-negotiables and shift things so that I will have more time for movement and exercise. And as you can hear in my voice, this little cold that I'm struggling with, this is the second time in 2025 that I have been taken out by a virus. And that's very unusual for me. And, I've often told clients or noticed over the years that when we are burning the candle at both ends. I'll use that analogy. Something's got to give, and your body maybe is trying to get your attention. And often, what I find in it's so easy to see in other people. So, for example, a client might be telling me how they need to slow down and how they feel overworked and how their partner is upset with them and how they had to give up their vacation days and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And suddenly they break their leg. And now they have to rest. They have to shift their routine. And so by getting two viruses this year, it is no surprise that the universe is trying to tell me to slow down or to build in more rest or to shift the way I'm approaching taking breaks. And so it's fascinating, right? And it's all instructive and it's all interesting to me. Another thing that I have been doing is I've been doing a lot of reading, which I love fiction, nonfiction, personal development with the Sober Edge Book Club and lots of other readings. But I have been longing to learn more about the nervous system and somatic practices. And so I am actually enrolled in a new course that will give me a certification around nervous system regulation. And I'm looking forward to it because I'm very excited. It starts in September, but I've already gotten the syllabus and seen the practicum, and we're going to be doing some hands on. And it reminds me of my early days when I first stopped drinking and I went to nutrition school. And so I'm really delighted to be, to becoming a student again. You may think that this is nuts as I tell you that my life has been very, very busy, but I crave novelty. And so this is where I get excited. I remember when I studied for my affective liminal psychology certificate with Annie Grace, she did a unit around novelty and certainty. And it's interesting that the human brain craves both. So, novelty is having, things that spark our attention, that are new and exciting. And in my life, that always delights me. I'm always saying yes to new opportunities. I shouldn't say always, but I often will get excited about new opportunities. And one of the most exciting things for me working inside AFL is so many opportunities to meet clients in person, opportunities to travel, opportunities to create new content, opportunities to collaborate in new ways, opportunities to create ads and video content. And all of that novelty is very exciting for me. It keeps me energized. And then our brain also loves certainty. So having a rhythm and a schedule. And so I am working on that flow so that come September, the studies that I will be doing will just flow into my day with that beautiful energy. So excited about that. And I will be sharing more as the course starts and what I learn. And I'm doing some pre reading around that. And it's all very exciting. I do have a couple of trips coming up this summer. My husband and I recently celebrated his birthday, and so we were camping, and we have another camping trip in the Redwoods coming up, which will be with my grandson and daughter and with our dog. And so, very excited to be in the Avenue of the Giants. And then my husband and I are getting away for a Shakespearean festival and going to see some theater. And so I love that. Just, honoring that creative part of ourself, honoring the part that wants to be in nature, honoring the part that wants adventure. These are the things I love to weave into my summer. And in fact, tomorrow I'm getting on a plane with my mother to go to visit my sister. So lots of things happening for me this summer. I want to know what's happening for you. And how is it impacting your ability to thrive in this alcohol free life? Where do you need more balance, perhaps? Where do you need more novelty? Where do you need more certainty? What are you enjoying right now? And if you chose a word of the year, how's it going? Let's do a little check-in. July 2nd is coming up. Are you living out that word? Are you remembering to anchor yourself to that word? What have you noticed that that word has allowed you to embrace in this beautiful season of life, wherever you are? So thanks for putting up with my scratchy voice, and I look forward to connecting again very soon. I would love for you to drop a comment around this podcast and let me know what your word is, how your summer's going, what you're most looking forward to, and just check in with me. I miss you all and have a beautiful day. I want to thank you for tuning in to the Sober Edge podcast. This is a place for important conversations and a safe place to question everything you thought you knew about drinking. If you're looking for your sober edge, I want to invite you to connect with me at thesobernutritionist.com, where you can grab my free resource, Becoming More, a guide to loving your sober life. And I would be so grateful if you enjoyed this podcast, if you would leave a rating and review, as it will help more people find their sober edge.